Now let's get into some real talk. It's time for story time, everyone. Why don't we just dive right on in? Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So for this video, I thought it'd be fun to do a tier list ranking of the official Disney princes. Not the princesses, the princes. So this was a recommendation from my friend Patrick. And basically, it's inspired kind of from my previous video where I ranked with some friends the Disney princesses. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of continue that. But instead of just ranking them in order, doing an actual tier ranking list from S to D. So I'll kind of explain what that is once we get into it. But basically, we're just going to go with the official Disney princes. Not any add-ons like Tarzan or Hercules. Basically, the love interest or secondary character, we'll say, to the official Disney princesses. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to view it, Moana does not have a love interest in her movie, which is probably a good thing. You know what? There doesn't need to be a love interest in every single movie. But anyways, I thought we'd just dive right on in and get to some ranking of the princes. All right. So basically how I wanted to get into this is go into the ranking criteria that I went with. So S is the number one and D is the lowest. So how I'm going to rank these princes is basically by my own just gut feeling and things like that. But it's going to be how they help our Disney princess and if they truly have any meaning to the story or if they're kind of just a bit of a waste of a time. So we'll just kind of go into that. So to start us off, we've got the prince, or also known as Prince Florian, who is kind of like the first start of the prince storyline, and he is from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He's known as the prince and just appears at the movie start when he sings with Snow White and at the end when he saves the princess of her stepmother's curse. Just for some of these facts, just so everyone knows, this is the Disney Princess fandom wiki that I'm kind of reading from. So Prince Florian, you might not be able to see him, but he's right here. And honestly, for me, he's a D ranking prince. He's not great, honestly. He's just at the beginning, he's just at the end, and he's just a ploy to really have Snow White come back to life, we'll say, from her slumber. Honestly, that's all he's kind of there for. And it's kind of creepy that he just finds her in the woods and kisses her. Talk about no consent. So Prince Florian, you're pretty low in my books. Now we have Prince Charming, and he's Cinderella's prince, we'll say. So Prince Charming has black hair, and he's much more interested in her than anyone else. He sees her at the ball, and he is just apparently kind of gets infatuated with her, it seems, when they dance at the ball that's being thrown for him so that he can wed someone. And then he just kind of hunts her down, we'll say, to try and find her with the glass slipper. So Prince Charming, for me, I'm going to rank him above Prince Florian. I say he's a C list. He's not pretty high though. And that's just because for me, Prince Charming, I understand you can go back with like it's the spell that like the fairy godmother has placed that people would forget, or he might not, she's so disguised that people don't know who she is at the ball, something like that we could always say. But basically he gets attached to her just from dancing and then becomes so obsessed that he's literally hunting her down throughout the entire town, the village, and ends up finding her and marrying her right away without even getting to know her. So personally, Prince Charming is not the greatest, but he's a bit better than Prince Florian because at least he doesn't kiss a random girl who's sleeping. Up next, we have Prince Philip, and he's from Sleeping Beauty. He's Aurora's prince. He's brave, loyal, and kind. He was the first prince to have a revealed name. We didn't really know Florian's name from Snow White. He was just known as the prince. And Prince Charming is known as Prince Charming, but his actual name is Henry, apparently. And also, it is saying that he appears in most of the movie. That's kind of true. Because he fights the dragon to save the castle from Maleficent, and then rescues Aurora. Personally, for me, I'm going to rank him, though. This is him right here. I'm going to rank him pretty much in the D category. He's just as bad, I'd say, as Prince Florian. He wakes her up from her slumber with a kiss. Granted, they had a bit more of a connection than Florian and Snow White did. But again, consent, or like maybe the family should have been there. I haven't seen Sleeping Beauty in quite a while, so I don't know if the family was aware that they were doing this. I don't think so, because the whole kingdom, I think, was put under a slumber. But that's my personal opinion. Also, Prince Adam, not Prince Adam, I'm so sorry, Prince Philip. Prince Philip kind of is a nobody. He's not really memorable, in my opinion, so it's pretty low there. At least people know who Prince Charming is. All right, up next we have Prince Eric, or Captain Eric. He's from The Little Mermaid, and basically he is kind of the reason why Ariel wants to go on land. She sees him and wonders kind of who he is. She's all about curiosity, so that's kind of why she trades in her voice to get legs, just kind of like see what it's like to be a human. And the whole motive is for him to kiss her in the end, so that she can get her voice back. Prince Eric is better, I'd say, than some of these other princes that we've seen so far. So Prince Eric, who's here, he's going to be a B ranking for me. The reason for that is Prince Eric, we get to know him a bit more. We see him and stuff, and I know he was thrown under the spell with Ursula when she came as a woman and kind of was distracted away from Ariel, and that's more of a spell. But I didn't like the whole premise of the story of giving up something just for a man and stuff like that, but that's my personal opinion. But overall, as a prince, he's a pretty cool prince. I mean, hey, he has a boat and he captains it, and that's pretty awesome. So Prince Eric, you're B for me. All right, up next we have Prince Adam, also known as the Beast, and he is from Beauty and the Beast, and he's the love interest of Belle. He's mostly seen in his beast form, and he is at first selfish, impatient, unkind due to being super spoiled. That's kind of the whole reason why he gets cursed with this beast curse by the enchantress, and he ends up changing and becoming gentle and brave, and putting other people first over himself. So that's pretty awesome. Good for Prince Adam. I'm not sure if I was the only one that when I saw Prince Adam change, the Beast changed to Prince Adam, I was like, I prefer the Beast more than Prince Adam in the looks. Personally, I don't know what that says about me. But anyway, so I'm going to say Prince Adam, you're equal to Prince Eric here. And the reason because is you have a lot of growth that you had to do. You basically cursed the whole town and the village because of your selfishness. And the enchantress put a curse upon the whole village so that they forgot about everyone completely. And you were just whining and moping for the longest time. You didn't even have any care or consideration for the people living in your castle that were also cursed by the enchantress for living with you and being around you. So I didn't like that. But he does have some major growth in the movie, so I do appreciate that. But who knows, maybe Belle did have a bit of Stockholm Syndrome. I guess we'll never fully know. All right, moving on from Prince Adam, we have Prince or Sultan Aladdin. That's it, Prince Ali Ababwa, also known as Aladdin, is the love interest of Princess Jasmine. And he's known as a street rat, as they like to call him. He's the only prince who was the protagonist of his movie. I mean, the movie is named after him. Princess Jasmine, the story is not really about her. It's about Aladdin. Seeing he's more important. And he's also the first prince that isn't from royalty since his birth, which is also very true. Prince Aladdin wasn't born into royalty. He marries into royalty when he kind of like gets together with Jasmine in the end. But he's a little more of I need to show who I am to impress this girl a bit. But let's rank him. So Prince Ali, you're going to go, aka Aladdin, in my A ranking. So you're above Adam and Eric. The reason for that is the movie's basically about you. And that's a nice change. I mean, it was always about the princesses. Now we're getting the prince. And it's not just a Caucasian white prince. For a change, the story takes place in Agrabah and is following him and his interest in Jasmine and wanting to show who he can be. And he wants to like give her all the finer things because he feels that that's what she wants and she deserves. I mean, it's a little twisted, but can see that his heart was kind of in the right place. He lived in squalor. So Prince Aladdin, you're higher than the other ones so far, but we'll see if anyone can do better than you. All right, up next we have Captain John Smith. Captain John Smith is from Pocahontas. He was the love interest of Pocahontas. Now, again, to preface this, I'm talking about the movie characterization of John Smith. I'm not talking about the real life version of John Smith. As well as when talking about Pocahontas, I'm not talking about the real story of what happened with Pocahontas. I'm talking about the movie's adaptation of it. Because in real life, John Smith wasn't great. So he was blind. He was more interested in land than gold until he met Pocahontas and she changed his priorities. After being shot by Ratcliffe, John had to go back to England for medical treatment, and he's the first prince of the franchise who isn't a real prince, and the only one who was based on a real person. That is very true. All the rest were fairy tales. So John Smith gets some points for that. So John Smith, we're gonna put you as a C character. Honestly, the whole movie was about Pocahontas, as it should be. And John Smith was kind of like an added character. In my opinion, I know it's based on real events, loosely based, and things like that, but the movie I think would have been just as good if John Smith wasn't there. It could have just been about Pocahontas altogether. Didn't have to have John Smith at all in the movie, and I think the movie would have been just as fine. John Smith was all about taking the land and stuff, and then his priorities changed, like I previously mentioned. Which is great for the movie. But then the movie kind of has this giant climax and then kind of halts when he gets shot. And then Pocahontas' character kind of gets pushed to the side a bit. It's focused on John Smith and making sure he's okay. And then he goes off to England and Pocahontas ends up staying home, which she should in this movie. She shouldn't leave because of John Smith. So I feel like he wasn't necessary at all for the movie. Could have just been mainly on Pocahontas and just stayed on Pocahontas. John Smith didn't need to be there at all, personally. All right, moving on, we've got Emperor Prince Captain Li Shang, and he is from Mulan. And he is a slight antagonist in Mulan, which changes to love interest and later fiance husband as the movies progressed. And he is the captain for China. He is helping fight the Huns were trying to take over and overthrow the Chinese government dynasty. Yeah. Anyways, let's rank him first. So Li Shang, is he an S, A, B, C, D? He's an S for me personally. Mulan, the movie itself, which maybe I'm biased, it's one of my favorite Disney movies, Disney princess movies. And I just love Mulan, the character, the princess herself, because she's not born into royalty at all. Li Shang, though, plays another intricate part in the movie. It's all about Mulan, which is fantastic, but Li Shang's there in the background. He has some funny moments. He has teachable moments. His song is amazing. And he kind of pushes Mulan's character to grow. He kind of diminishes her and thinks that she's pathetic, and the army that he's trying to train is pathetic. So he kind of pushes Mulan to get better and to truly become the warrior that she's destined to be. So Li Shang plays an integral part in that. And yes, at the end, it's kind of like, oh, will they, won't they at the end get together after everything's done? But it never fully says it by that movie. He just kind of shows up to her house to stay for dinner. Because the focus was on Mulan, and it wasn't the love interest. The love interest was just a secondary plot. It was mostly about defeating the Huns. And Li Shang played an integral part in that, in the sense of, at the end, he didn't trust Mulan because she had disguised herself as a man. But then once stuff went down with the emperor, he ended up trusting her and basically following her lead for a change, which I think is such great character growth for him. All right, up next we have Prince or King Naveen from The Princess and the Frog. He is an annoyance to Tiana, Princess Tiana, until they spend some time together as frogs. He becomes her love interest and later husband. He's slightly bratty, hugely spoiled until his froggy adventure. That's pretty well true. I'm just going to rank him right now, and honestly, he's going to be a B for me. And I'll explain why. So Prince Naveen, he plays a bigger part in the movie than some of the other princes. But, but for me personally, he's bratty. He's spoiled. He thinks he's better than everyone else. And I don't know. I've seen the movie once, so I can give a bit of an opinion about him, but he's kind of forgettable in my opinion. Maybe it's because I watched Princess and the Frog when I was older, so it doesn't have like that nostalgia for me like some of the other princes might. But I didn't enjoy that movie in particular. I loved how they had their first black princess, African-American princess from New Orleans, and I thought that was amazing. But it's kind of a boring story. He's just bratty, he's along for the ride, and it's just Tiana wanting to not be a frog anymore. And he kind of tricked her. Not really, but yes, really, because he tricked her and she turned into a frog, but that wasn't his intent to turn her into a frog. But it was always about him, his brattiness, his spoiled attitude, and that kind of tainted my opinion of him personally. And last, but certainly not least, we have Eugene Fitzberg, also known as Flynn Rider. He's the love interest of Rapunzel in the movie Tangled. He went from an orphan to a thief to a prince, and for most of his life he went by Flynn Rider as he liked a similarly named character in his book as a child. And that's pretty much it that we know about Flynn Rider. So Flynn Rider, again, like mentioned, he's the love interest of Rapunzel in the movie Tangled. And he's a thief. He's a known thief, but he ends up kind of scouting out that tower, breaking in, and then Rapunzel kind of hits him over the head with a frying pan. He has handsome features of his character, and he's kind of taking Rapunzel along the way, but he ends up falling for her, and I do appreciate that. But it's a story that's been done so many times. So let's rank him. Flynn Rider, you're going to be the A with Aladdin for me. And the reason for that is you have more character growth, I find. You're someone that we actually care about in the end. You get injured by Mother Gothel, and it's assumed that you're dead. Actually, you practically do die until Rapunzel saves you. So that's a bit of a twist and a flip in the sense of it was finally a princess saving someone and not a prince saving the princess. So that's a nice twist that we got from that. It's also a funny character. We actually care about this person. Unlike some of the other princes who are just added, we don't really care about them. We actually care about Flynn Rider a bit. But that's my opinion about that. And there you have it. That's my tier list right here. So we've got at the top Li Shang. In my A rankings, we've got Aladdin and Flynn Rider. Then in the B, we have Eric, Adam, and Naveen. In C, we have Charming and John Smith. And in D, we have Philip and Florian. So that's my ranking. And there you have it. That was just the tier ranking that I've decided to do for the Disney princes. And let me know down in the comments how you would have ranked them personally. If you disagree with some of my comments, or if you think I was particularly harsh about certain princes, or I gave certain princes more credit than they deserve. I'm always curious to know what you guys think. Special shout out to my friend Patrick, who suggested that I make this video. And no, I'm not talking about myself. And that's it for this video. I always recommend you check me out on my Patreon. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and click the subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Bye!